Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo, and today we're joined by Mr. Greg Sylvander, joining us from the Five Reasons Sports Podcast, and also our normal host or guest, Mr. Mateo Mayorga, and we got Alejandro Villegas running us on the ones and twos. Now, as always, if you guys are on the road or outwards, make sure you drive safe, get home safe. But if you're not, if you're at home, make sure you guys like the video, make sure you guys subscribe for all Miami Heat sport content. We'll get you the post players interviews from Brady, from anybody else who's covering the game live. And we'll also make you covered with all South Florida sports. So make sure you guys like, make sure you guys subscribe, follow everything here at the Five Reasons Sports Network. Now, if you guys are young and with a family, want to make sure all your assets are protected if something does happen to you, make sure you go to markbrownpa.com. That's marcbrownpa.com. Or you can give him a call at 954-866-8513. He is based out of the North Lauderdale area, and he services the entire area. So if you're in anywhere in South Florida, he's the guy to take care of you. And I always say this, make sure you guys give your business to a Heat fan and not to a Lakers, a 76ers, or a Knicks fan. Like, that's probably the worst thing you can do. Make sure you give, like I said, Mark Brown PA a call, 954-866-8513. Take care of all your financial assets if something does happen. We live in a crazy world. You want to make sure you're taken care of if something does happen. Now, if you want to make sure you win some good money, make sure you guys go to PrizePicks.com and make sure you guys use the promo code 5. Spell that out, FIVE, and make sure that you guys double your deposit up to $100. We give you some rapid fire prize picks every time we have these pregame shows. We tend to do a pretty good job with hitting on most of those picks. So make sure you guys play those free picks that we give you every single game. Like I said, use the promo code 5, double your deposit up to $100. And that way you can play and you can register and you make some money. So head over to prizepicks.com and make sure you use that promo code 5 and go ahead and get your money. Gentlemen, we are playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we're coming off the heels of a tough loss. Miami was severely undermanned. I was ready to rub it in your guys' face. I had the screen recording loaded of me saying Miami's going to win after you guys both picked Miami to lose. So I was pretty excited to say that Miami, but unfortunately we weren't able to get the win against the Wizards. But there was a lot of positives I feel like we could take out of that game. So Greg, before we move on to this Timberwolves game, what are some good things that you can take out of that game against the Wizards that maybe you can see transition into this game?
Well, I actually have some exclusive insider information for you, Jonathan. The Heat play the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, not the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that's where we're going to start the show, is that our opponent is actually completely different than the one that you've referenced. But that's okay, because you know what? They present similar challenges. And I think that that's kind of an interesting thing in itself, is that they're going to have this back-to-back against these teams with big front courts. So as it relates to Cleveland, I'm going to pivot to that direction, because this is the game the Heat should not win. I mean, I'm glad Bam is playing, but when you look at the size that, Cleveland plays with, they're the number one 3-point shooting team in the league. They're just a shade over 39%. So like, they're hitting threes, they're long. They present basically all the challenges that we've thought that even a fully healthy Heat team would have to deal with in some kind of way. So it's going to be an interesting battle tonight. I am interested to see how Spoelstra manages the Garland-Mitchell duo and how much Lowry. I guess Gabe was ruled out, so I don't know what they're going to do there. So I give up there as well. But yeah, anyway, I don't know much else other than to make sure that we focus on the Cavs tonight and not the Timberwolves, because that's tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, Alejandro. I thought I was going crazy, but the title of the video is Minnesota Timberwolves. So I thought I was wrong, and I was like, all right, I have to switch it up last second. So shout out Alejandro.
That's my bad. I'm sorry.
Throwing me off. Anyways, let's go to you, Mateo. No Jimmy Butler, but we are going to have Kyle and Bam, and they're going to probably be the majority off the offense. Of course, adding Max Strus. What do you expect to see from those guys offensively? Of course, no Jimmy Butler, no Tyler Hero. How do you expect those guys to be successful tonight?
Well, I expect them to be aggressive. The ball movement is going to have to be one of the most important factors tonight, because the Cleveland Cavaliers are a team that can switch everything defensively everything after a screen, and they very often use a 2-3 zone. They're huge backline defenders. You need to take them away from the rim with your ball movement, and you want to open up the baseline with that, just swinging the ball or just, moving the ball into the middle. But, I think Bam is going to have a big night because did you say no Jimmy? Or are we for sure? Yes, no Jimmy. I think he's going to have a huge night. Like you mentioned before we started the game, that Jimmy did not play. He had a pretty big night on the stat sheet. But Kyle Lowry, he had a triple-double the last game. He looked like he stepped into the hot tub time machine. I hope that keeps going. But I would expect, those two to pick up the slack for the guys who are missing.
Yeah, this Cavaliers team is a very different Cavaliers team than many teams we've seen in the past, right? Good Cavaliers teams, at least in my lifetime, have always had LeBron James. I feel like this is the first time that we're seeing a good Cavalier team without LeBron on it. Now, they're pretty deep, like you said, a heavily good backcourt, and then that front court as well. I mean, Mobley, you have a lot of big dudes there. What does Miami need to do defensively to stop all those guys?
I mean, I think the whole league is asking themselves that question right now.
Zone.
Right? Like, yeah, like that really is the thing. But like someone alluded to earlier, like they shoot threes really well too. So it's one of those teams that is really hard to try to game plan against them defensively because Garland throws whatever your defensive game plan is out the window with his individual talent. So does Donovan Mitchell. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I think you can game plan for them a little bit more. And they don't really have dynamic wing scoring per se, but they get so much from the guard spot that it doesn't really matter. They always have one of those dudes going crazy. And then, I mean, Allen and Mobley are really the ones that kind of decide like what their ceiling is offensively, in my opinion. So at least for tonight, you go zone, but you try to get them to shoot the mid-range. Like, I understand that they have some players who are capable of taking the mid-range. I think Mobley's pretty capable. Allen has a little push shot. But I would try to get them. I think that's a recipe that they've kind of been using over the last couple of games, and it's made their defense look a lot better. I know Brady did a fantastic job explaining that. But they've kind of forced teams into this in-between game a little bit. And they obviously are talent deficient right now. But if you can get teams to kind of take those inefficient shots, then, I mean, you could maybe get some three-point variance and make this game competitive. But it's really tough to stop Cleveland. Like, they are a very good basketball team, and typically I think beating them is going to be more so outscoring them as opposed to holding them under 100.
And then obviously with the size of that team and with the size that we're not going to be able to let Bam switch too much. I think this is one of those games where I think Brady was the one, or Mateo might have talked about having Bam play in a drop a little bit more instead of having him switch. But with no Gabe Vincent to fight around those screens, it's just going to be mostly probably Caleb guarding point of attack. Kylie's in the best point of attack. I think Caleb probably be that guy. So it's going to be interesting to see if they allow Bam to stay on that drop, or if they let them die on the screens and just see what happens from there, because they're two excellent pull-up artists as well. So, Greg, I want to talk to you about Max Strus, because I feel like he is the difference maker when it comes to this team. When it comes to the spark plug, right? Previous couple years, it was Tyler Hero, and now I feel like Max Strus is taking over that role. What has Max Strus become for this team? Because it almost seems like he's a necessary cog, and without Max, that this team would be dead in the water. And many times offensively. What has Max Strus become to this team?
I mean, if they had a good record, he'd be a 6-man of the year candidate. Just if you look at stats and impact off the bench, I think he's about as good a bench player as you could ask for. And probably his best role on this team with this roster is actually as a starter, but that's a whole nother episode for a whole nother day. I love what I've seen from Max, but I will say, he's had those inefficient games. He's had some weird shooting nights where he's just completely off, and he keeps shooting them. And eventually like that helps them, and that he can hit one late that, keeps them in a game, and that kind of thing. Well, I think tonight specifically after post game, he was very much like, this game was on me. We could have won this game against Washington, but I didn't. I think his exact words were, I disappeared in the second half. So I'm hoping that this is the type of Max Strus game that they see like the best of him, because truthfully, when you look at this team, are we going to really replicate the Kyle Lowry 51-minute triple-double? Bam is obviously going to bring it. But then other than that, you need Max Strus. Like, that's the other guy who has to be a primary volume scorer. I just don't see where else it's coming from. So to me, that's a big part of this. I love the things that he's improved on. I also would never pay him the Duncan Robinson contract. So let's just get that out into the atmosphere. But he's definitely having the type of season that could lead to a slightly above mid-level long-term contract. And I think he's probably worth that. And again, he's probably best as a starter with this particular group. And I'm looking for a big night from him specifically, even if they get their ass kicked.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. So let's go into our rapid fire prize picks. And Mateo, I'll start with you on this one. We have Bam Adebayo. Obviously, like we said, probably going to be one of the more primary scoring options for the team. But he's sitting at 20.5 points tonight. Mateo, are you going over on that or are you going under?
I'm going with the over. The Heat need somebody to be a primary scorer, someone who's going to try to force fouls on Jared Allen and Evan Mobley to take them out of the game. Bam is usually money inside of the paint. I'm going to go with the over on this one.
Awesome. Yeah, they have Kyle Lowry. Points, rebounds, and assists, 28.5. Are you going to go over on that or are you going to go under?
28.5. I'll go under on that. I think Kyle's production is going to be a little bit more modest today. I think asking him to do that type of performance 2 games in a row is just unfair. But I appreciate the way that Kyle's been playing lately. I just don't know if he'll get the best numbers from this game.
For sure. And Greg, we'll finish out with you. We have Max Strus at 16.5 points. Are you feeling over on that? Are you feeling under?
Well, since I went on a whole diatribe about Max Strus a minute ago, I guess I got to go one way or another. I will say that he is averaging 18 over his last 5. He has gone over 16.5, 3 of his last 5, including his last 2. So you know what? I'm going over 16.5 Max Strus. But make sure you use that code 5 to get your initial deposit matched up to $100. That's like free money to play with. Come on, y'all. Use the code 5.
And go ahead and kick us off on predictions and give us the key to the game.
The key to the game is that we get to watch Bam and Jovic play a lot of minutes. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know what else is the key to the game. If they steal this one, I'm going to be really obnoxious about it, or I'm going to say they should have lost it. So that's where I stand. I'm playing both sides here just to piss people off.
Where are you feeling, Gad?
I think the Cavs are going to win this game, but I actually 100% agree with what Greg said. Like, I want to see what Bam with Jovic looks like. I want to see what Jovic with any other big looks like, but specifically Bam, because that is the duo where you look at the Jovic fit and you're like, okay, how does this start to fit long-term? Because the kid has game. The kid has feel, and he does a lot of things that a lot of those 19-year-olds really just can't do in terms of processing a half-court game in the NBA. I'm really loving what I'm seeing from him. I hope he has earned a spot in the rotation long term, and I want to see how it fits next to Bam.
Mateo, finish this off, bro.
I am expecting a big night from Max Strus. He has gotten to the point where I do not expect 2 bad shooting nights in a row. I will expect to see a very, effective shooter tonight, someone who's creating a bunch of gravity, but I don't think it's going to be a positive outcome for the Heat tonight. I think they're much bigger, and they have 2 scorers in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland who can get you 30 or 40 whenever they want to. So it's the second best shooting team from deep. The Heat have been playing a lot of zone. I just don't like it. I think the Cavs are going to win.
Yeah, if we had Jimmy Butler, I would feel a lot more comfortable just in the defensive side of the ball, just being able to lock up at least 1 or 2 of those guys. But missing him and then offensively missing Hero as well, I just feel like this is going to be a tough one for us to play from behind on both sides of the ball because they're really long defensively as well. So might not be the easiest time of scoring the ball, and then offensively just guarding them is going to be a tough time. So I'm still going to take Miami. I still think, we can pull it out somehow.
That's what's up. You got the guts.
You always got to believe in your team. Like we said last time, we were 1 buzzer beater away from winning that game with pretty much nobody on the court. So, hey, why not, right? Miami, we're getting Bam Adebayo back. Bam, with no Jimmy, typically is a little more aggressive. Like, you remember that game against the Brooklyn Nets when he scored a little buzzer beater. So, we could have a little bit of hope tonight. I think Miami gets it done. We have the secret weapon in Coach Spo. Max Strus will get it cooking. And we're going to get this win. So, Alejandro, make sure you take this away. Make sure you guys use the promo code 5. Go to PrizePicks.com. Play that code. Double your deposit up to $100. And also give Mark Brown, PA, a call, 954-866-8513. Alejandro is going to take it away with the player interviews now. And thank you guys always for joining us on the 5 Reasons pregame show.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us here on the pregame show. The 5 reasons. It was my bad. It is the Cavaliers who are facing the Miami Heat tonight. Let's continue with our pregame show here. I'm reading all your guys' messages. We do not have the start lineup so far, but we're waiting for the Miami Heat to actually post it. We do have an injury update for you guys that are just getting here. Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, and Dwayne Wade-Dedmon are going to warm up with the intent to play tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we'll see what happens and if they do play tonight against the Cavs. And hopefully the Miami Heat can get a little bit closer to 500. All right, let's continue with our pregame show. Jose Mato says FIFA. The FIFA World Cup started today, but we're not talking about the FIFA World Cup tonight. All right, let's go with Erik Spoelstra first. He's going to be the first one here in the pregame show. Let's see what he said after that tough loss against the Washington
that second
Wizards.
half. Was it just fatigue that set in there? What did you kind of see
No,
then?
well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, look, we played guys big minutes, but look, we were right there, 5-point lead, minute to go. And we just weren't able to finish it out. The guys played outstanding and really competed. It's a shame. I really wish I could have told something better to my locker room, because I'm really proud of that effort tonight. And we just had a couple miscues. Beal scored it quickly against our zone that put it to a 3-point game. Then that last one was a miss, so there was a little bit of confusion what we were in, and then we happened to leave Kuzma wide open. He still has to make it, though. Sometimes those aren't the easiest shots when you're wide open, and he was able to put it into overtime. But we still had our opportunities in overtime. I liked the execution. I liked the looks. I liked the defense, going down the stretch. And sometimes it's a make or miss, and we just weren't able to capitalize going down the stretch. But there were some very good things, that happened tonight.
Was it hard to take Kyle out of the game and just everything? What did he do to kind of lift you guys tonight with some guys out?
Kyle, when he got off the bus and walked by the coach's office before the game, he ducked his head in and said, "I can go 48 if you need me to." And I remember that, when he was with Toronto, he had so many of those games where he just basically was like Jimmy and would play almost all the way through. I wasn't planning on that necessarily. I felt like I accomplished something by getting him a minute rest in that second half. But he knows how to pace himself. He really competed. I mean, he almost had a triple-double at halftime. It was amazing. And just settled everybody. We're playing different lineups and, some of the young guys. And you can manage all of that when you have a veteran point guard that can keep everybody calm and steady through, those ebbs and flows during the course of the game. And I just think Kyle, when he needed to, he was able to pace himself. And then when he was needed to burst into gear, he was able to do that as well. But, that's a heck of a game. And again, it's a shame. We had a lot of contributions that, we just couldn't get it done. But like I said, a lot of good things that happened.
This team has had moments like this. There was the Rex Chapman game. There was even last year in Houston when your entire bench you signed the day before. You came up, you played a game against the Rockets, you won that. How inspiring is it sometimes to see the smaller stories and guys who don't get a chance, the Hayward Highsmiths with that run he had there, Orlando Robinson being in at the end. What's it like to see guys like that get their chance and seize the moment?
Yeah, and Nico played well again in his minutes. I thought Kane had some moments in this game as well. Look, there's been a long history of guys that have done that, and what the guys that have done that before, the non-drafted guys that have been patient and have really worked behind the scenes and then gotten their opportunity and capitalized on it, now they're the ones really being the caretakers for our culture and explaining it to the next wave. So it's almost like we don't have to explain it. That's already been communicated since the very first day of training camp, or all the training behind the scenes. Our guys encourage the next wave, to do what UD always says. You stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And those guys really take it to heart, and they feel a responsibility the next wave of young guys to be able to step up in these kind of moments, like the guys have previously.
Max's last shot, it almost reminded me of that summer league shot he hit to win that game in overtime. It was as good a look, I think, as you could have gotten. I mean, when you got that shot, did you say, fine, good shot? When it went up, did you think?
1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
1,000%. We tried to get something before that. And again, I wouldn't trust it. We knew we had 2 timeouts. If it wasn't Kyle taking the ball out of bounds, because he can look at something for 4 seconds. They defended it. And then we went to, the next play, a different alignment. And it was executed, very well. And Max was able to get some airspace on that. That's all you can ask for. It was a little bit further out, and Beal was closing in on it. I think he might have gotten a fingertip on the ball as he was going up, which I think just distorted a little bit of Max's rhythm. But, hey, if you can get that kind of look, I thought it was going in. It was dead on, just a little bit short. But it just had the feeling that was a shot that was going to go.
Felt like Taj Gibson really changed the tenor of this game. Are you kind of sick of dealing with him at this point and his energy and his effort?
Yeah, tip my hat. You respect guys like Taj Gibson. He's about all the right things. He's a winning player. He brings so much, to a team, to a locker room. He's very much like our guy, UD. So he did give him some very good minutes in that second half.
And, is it hard to stick with the zone? Obviously, it works for a long time, and then, there's the ebbs and flows of the game. But it's hard to put so much zone out there in an NBA game and feel comfortable with it?
I don't know. We're doing whatever's necessary right now. I'm sure we're breaking some records for zone, but it's not like we haven't done it. We've been doing it for a while. The guys are getting a lot better at it. And the guys that stepped up that haven't really been playing big minutes, I thought they played really disciplined in the zone, which doesn't happen by accident. They really have to work at it and spend a lot of time.
Nick's feel on the offensive end, just as a screener, as a scorer, passer, just what have you learned about that part of his game?
That's what it is. He has a really good offensive instincts, not only as a passer, but as a screener, how to get into open spaces, how to execute different things, and then his passing and his vision. As soon as he got here, that was probably his number one strength, his ability to make other guys better. And he's not afraid of the moment. So he's comfortable out there. He's earning the respect of everybody in the locker room, and he's earning his stripes right now. I was encouraged again by his minutes tonight.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that was Erik Spoelstra talking about what happened against the Washington Wizards. The Miami Heat almost won that game, even though they only had 7 players. All right, let's give thank you to our friend Mitsuaki. Please ask Spo why he doesn't use Jovic when he's most comfortable. Did Spo watch his tape at all? He has a lot of experience in different positions and high basketball IQ. I agree, and we'll see what he does today. Maybe he uses it with Bam alongside with him. We'll see what happens. Jose Mato says, what's up? And Tia Harris says, let's go. Let's go. He come on now. Stop that losing and focus on you can win this game. Now you focus and pay attention. Don't relax when you're up ahead and the team. Then we'll let you know. I know we missing Jim. Or probably she says Jimmy Butler. All right, let's continue with our pregame show here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. The next one coming up here, it's going to be Max Strus talking about what happened against the Washington Wizards.
It was going, and then you go to overtime. It's going to come down. It felt like it was going to definitely come down to the last shot. But first of all, before we get into how it all came about, just the effort of 7 guys making it a game like this. Your view of that?
Yeah, I let the guys down tonight. Disappeared in the second half, and we had a lot of guys come up, step up, play hard, give us great minutes, and we should have won the game. I'll take that one and move on from it.
It did look like all the ones you had on line just short.
Yeah, I got to make shots.
That last shot, I assume in that situation, to get that kind of look, you had to feel good about the look, and it almost reminded me of that overtime shot in Summer League a couple of years back. I mean, just can you take us through that play and how good you felt about where you got the ball and the look that you got?
Yeah, it was a perfect setup, perfect pass, perfect screen, bad shot.
How should Kyle kind of help stabilize things for you guys tonight and then for him to play for
Kyle was phenomenal. Kyle was the reason we were in the game. Kyle was the reason we should have won the game. Kyle was exceptional. He carried us, made every play we needed him to make, put us all in great positions to succeed, and we followed him, and he should have led us to a win.
All right, short and sweet. That was Max Strus talking about what happened. He felt bad because he missed the last shot and he didn't have a very good second half in that particular game. All right, let's listen now to Kyle Lowry, who played a great game. I know a lot of you are or have been really complaining about what Kyle Lowry has done this season, but I think he's been one of the best players in the Miami Heat, and he's actually played in each one of the 16 games that the Miami Heat has played so far. So I don't know. I think he's deserving a little bit more.
Take on that amount of minutes to try to get this done.
Yeah, I had an idea. It's kind of one of those situations you got to do what it takes to win the basketball game, and Coach trusted me a lot. He trusted me tonight, and I mean he's always trusted me. But tonight was like, I was like, Coach, before I walked in the building, I said 48, and got to 50.
And all the things you wanted to correct, you guys got the rebounds, you got second chance points, and it's a snip and tuck in an overtime game where everything matters.
Yeah, 3-2 in overtime. It's a great basketball, wasn't it? A great offensive display. I think even in regulation, we gave up a 2, which didn't hurt us, and then at last, Orlando had a great 3 in the corner. If he'd have made that, it would have been game. But Brad made a great pass to Kuz, and we were kind of scrambling, and he made a great shot. But honestly, I'm just proud of the effort that we went out there and gave, and all of us that played, and even the guys that didn't play, and our coaches. We just went out there and fought. I mean, it's really one of those games where you just are just upset that you didn't win that game, but you go and move on.
Max took it really hard in the sense of having the last shot and then not having a lot of shots fall in the second half. I assume you don't allow him to take the entire thing on his shoulder.
Max is a very emotional character. He's a young guy. He takes pride in his game, but he had a good game. He just missed some shots. I think you've taken that many minutes, that many playing defense and up and down running. Our pace was frenetic in the first 3 quarters, first half. It was just, he'll be fine. He'll make 10 threes next game or something like that.
How inspiring is it to see sort of what the kids did? Nikola, Haywood, and even Orlando Robinson shows up this week and he's playing crunch time in overtime.
Yeah, there's guys, like I said, I'm just happy. I'm really pissed that we lost, but I'm happy and proud of those guys. They came out there and gave a great effort. Nikola just getting better every opportunity he gets. H stepped up. Big 3, he had great passes. He had some good defense, great big rebounds. I think he had 14 night or whatever he had rebounding. And then Orlando, kid just did his job, man. It's just you got to be happy for those guys and just proud of them. A guy that's been in this league 17 years, you're just happy to see young guys just stepping up and getting opportunities.
You played for Toronto and last year obviously here, but have you played that much zone in one game before?
Never. But you got to do what you got to do. And we was the Syracuse Heat tonight, so it was cool.
All right, that was Kyle Lowry talking about what happened, future Hall of Fame, like our friend Jose Matos says here. All right, let's continue with our pregame show. I know you guys are enjoying this, and we're going to be having fun watching this Miami Heat facing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Next one is going to be Nikola Jovic. Let's start with Jovic, and he had a great game again.
Just your view of the 7 of you all being able to make this a game.
I mean, we gave everything we had, and I'm just sad that for my guys, for my teammates, that we can get a win because, like I said, we gave everything we had. Only 7 of us, which is like, you don't see that a lot, but yeah, it was tough, and we move on to the next one.
Had you ever been in a game quite like that?
I don't think so. With 7 players, I'm not sure. I really don't think so.
How important was everything that Kyle gave you all over nearly 50 minutes of play?
Yeah, he did basically everything for us. I mean, he had triple-double, so he did really, you can see it in stats, you can see it on the court. He was the one who was doing really everything for us.
Did you feel even more comfortable tonight in your second start compared to a few nights ago?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm just stacking those minutes, and teammates, like I said last time, same thing. Kyle, just making sure everyone's getting the ball, getting everyone involved. So I really, I'm happy that I'm playing with this team, because I'm learning a lot. And yeah, I'm really confident.
You heard that Nikola Jovic is really, really, really confident, and hopefully we see him tonight. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see him tonight because it's gonna be another one of those Miami Heat games where we're not completely fit, so we're gonna need the bench to step up. All right, let's continue with our pregame show. The next one is gonna be Caleb Martin. Let's continue with Caleb Martin, and with him, we're gonna close this out tonight as we get ready to watch the game.
You guys fight all the way through it, just 7 of you, and amazing night by so many of you pushing through. Spo says all the time, no moral victories, but that was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, that's one. It's frustrating just because we did so much to get to that point. But like me and Kyle was saying, we can kind of sleep on that one, just knowing how. Just proud of certain guys stepping up, and kind of like we were talking about earlier with next man up. So that's a tough one. That's a tough one, but we can live with that one.
How is that juggling that amount of time on the floor, and particularly what Kyle did, taking on all those minutes?
Yeah, I mean that's tough. That just shows you what type of leader he is, man. I mean, you put your body on line when everybody's kind of beat up at this point, and the fact that he's mentally prepared to go in there and play every minute of the game is, it's inspiring for the rest of us. So, like Coach says, he leads, we follow, and he definitely leaded up this group today to that type of game, and fell a little short, but yeah, it's a tough one.
How was it for you personally, fighting that long in a game like that?
I'm good. I'm in good shape. So yeah, I'm in good shape. So I just, I love playing. I'm playing as many minutes as I can. So any opportunity you get to play most of the game, that's right up my alley. So I definitely don't run from that type of stuff, for sure.
Sorry. All right, that was Caleb Martin talking about what went on in that game against the Washington Wizards. All right, let's see if the Miami Heat has the lineup on. It's not. I'm sorry. Oh, yes, they do. All right, here we go. It's going to be Kyle Lowry, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, Nikola Jovic, and Bam Adebayo. So we are going to see both of them playing together. Kyle Lowry, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, Nikola Jovic, and Bam Adebayo. That's the starting five for the Miami Heat tonight, facing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hopefully the Miami Heat can win this game and maybe get a little bit closer to 500. Thank you guys for joining us here on the 5 Reasons pregame show. We're going to be, of course, as usual, in our halftime show on Twitter, doing Pace and Spaces. And right after the game is over, we're going to be here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel doing the post-game show. Have a good night. Enjoy the game. Miami Heat facing the Cleveland Cavaliers in about 25 minutes, and we will see you later here tonight. Have a good night. Bye-bye.